go. This is the Armadillo from Amarillo, and it's written by Lynn Cherry. She's the same lady who wrote The Great Kapok Tree, and she's really neat. She lives in Austin here in Texas, and she writes and she illustrates her own books, which is double awesome because you have to be a really good illustrator to be able to illustrate your books. This book is going to help us know where in the world we are. Now, do you recognize that? That's the state of Texas. That's where we live. Woo! Now, this book is copyrighted 1994 by Gulliver Green Books, and so we appreciate them allowing me to read this story on the internet. So please don't sue me, Gulliver Green. We're just trying to educate our kids. Okay. Now, throughout this story, you're going to also see that there's little postcards that the armadillo, here's the little armadillo, sends to his friends. Okay, so here we go. Look at that. Blue bonnets. Cool. An armadillo from Texas wondered, where in the world am I? What's out beyond these tangled woods? What's out beyond the sky? So Armadillo packed up his things and left his home behind. He headed off on a northeast course to seek what he could find. And here he is. Here's his little postcard he sends to his friend Sarsaparilla. He traveled to the nearby city of San Antonio, and from the top of the highest tower, he saw where he might go. But Armadillo still wondered, where in the world am I? What's out beyond the prairie grass? What's out beyond that sky? Here he is. Look, there he is at the Alamo. He followed the river past twisted oaks, through ancient juniper trees, and that's shared by warblers and vireos and Carolina chickadees. The landscape changed dramatically through woodland, towns, and plains. Armadillo explored canyons, and he walked through heavy rains. And this is the enchanted rock that's outside of San Antonio, between San Antonio and Austin. He walked for weeks and came to Austin, continued west and north to Abilene and Lubbock. He hiked and sallied forth. Armadillo, often along the way, climbed up to higher ground. He scurried up the canyon walls and stopped to look around. How different were the plains above. Flowers went on for a mile. Armadillo decided to settle down and stay there for a while. But Armadillo still wondered, where in the world am I? Perhaps I'd have a better idea if I could somehow fly. One day he asked the golden eagle as she came breezing by, what can I do for a bird's eye view from way up in the blue sky? Hop on my back, said Eagle. I'll fly you wide and far, and then you'll see eventually where in the world we are. Upward and upward the eagle flew. Armadillo held on tight. With my tail tip curled, I'll explore the world from morning until night. Armadillo looked down below and asked, where in the world are we? We're over a prairie, and in the distance, that's Amarillo, you'll see. We've flown over the prairie. We've flown over a town. Amarillo means yellow, my dear little fellow, and the prairie's all yellow and brown. I see Amarillo, said Armadillo. Could we see all of Texas, though? And if we fly up higher into the sky, could we even see New Mexico? Or if we fly even higher up into the sky, could we see the entire earth? Well, certainly, surely, if you hold on securely. We'll try, cried the eagle with mirth. Now, Amarillo's a city, asked Armadillo. To this the eagle replied, yes, Amarillo's a city in Texas, which is the state where we reside. And Texas is in the United States, our country wide and dear, on the North American continent, which is on the earth, a sphere. This sphere is called a planet. Of 9, we are just one. And as we converse in the universe, these planets turn around the sun. This book was written before Pluto wasn't considered a planet anymore, so we're one of 8. Armadillo held tightly onto Eagle's neck, afraid of a long, long fall. From over his shoulder, with the air getting colder, this is what he saw. They flew so high up into the sky that Texas they saw below, the part they call the Panhandle, and the state of New Mexico. With my tail tip curled, I'll explore the world, Armadillo said to his friend. Through the clouds they twirled, in the wind they whirled, and up they were hurled again. And when they looked up, they could see into space. They'd flown into thin air. It's hard to breathe here. I'd like to leave here, Eagle. Homeward, let's repair. We're very high now, said Eagle, on the edge of air and space. The atmosphere's ending. We should be descending. But oh, what a remarkable place. There must be a way to fly higher up, bringing some air aboard. Perhaps we should travel to Cape Canaveral, Eagle said as she soared. This is Florida, right here. As they spoke of Cape Canaveral, the rocket launching place, a shuttle took off with a roar of fire and headed out toward space. Eagle had a brilliant thought and whistled a happy tune. Let's hitch a trip on this rocket ship and fly all the way to the moon. With a burst of speed, the Eagle flew in the path of the rocket ship, and it took her and Armadillo aboard and continued on its trip. The higher they flew, the farther they saw. Louisiana and Arkansas. And there were some other countries below they could see, Cuba and Mexico. The spaceship then zoomed so high up that Armadillo could not tell where a country began or ended, or where its borders fell. The Earth was now so far away, so very, very far. I'm wondering, said Armadillo, where in the world we are. We're out of this world, said the Eagle to the Armadillo, her friend. 10 miles from Earth starts the universe, right at the atmosphere's end. From space, the Earth was a big round ball of swirling clouds of white against a deep blue background, like the blue-black sky at night. Planets shone all around them, reflecting star-like light. In that silent room, floating in the dark, they traveled through the night. Before them was Earth's silver moon, a white and glowing sphere. They hovered there, floating in thin air, over craters with no fear. And as they watched in wonder, the Earth rose on the horizon. They sat and gazed at their far-off home, watched Earth set and Earth rising. Armadillo said, I'm homesick. Hey, Eagle, let's go back. Let's go back down to our yellow town, away from this blue and black. The rocket began a downward arc, and they flew over land and sea. The adventurous pair flew through the air to their home by the yellow prairie. He'd wondered where in the world he was, and now Armadillo knew. He said, I know where in the scheme of things I am, Eagle, thanks to you. I now live near Amarillo, a city that's rather small, which is in the state of Texas, one of 50 states in all. In the United States of America, the country of my birth, on the North American continent, in the world, on planet Earth. In all, there are 9 planets, and Earth is only one. As we converse in the universe, 8 planets besides this one, warmly, hotly, coldly, coolly, revolve around the sun. That's Armadillo from Amarillo.